Okay, so the title of the piece I'm going to talk about is Dinner Dispute. I think the title pretty much says what it's going to be about, that there's going to be some sort of chaos at dinner. The mood of the piece was pretty upbeat for the most part, especially at the beginning when it seemed like a little more edgy, and then it sort of smoothed out like toward the end. Um, and as I understood the performance, like it seemed like the dancers were trying to make conversations with their tap shoes. I think that the overall intent of the choreographer was to, obviously, I think to create the conversation with the tap, with like them making a phone call, or maybe to try to figure out like where this missing person was. Um, it seemed like I don't know I don't know if one of the dates maybe might have been missing, because I know they're all girls in the piece, but some of them I think were intended to be guys because they were wearing like long pant like suits, and the girls were wearing dresses. I think the theme was pretty literal. I mean, you could pretty much see the meaning of what it was intended to be. And like the subject matter, same thing. I guess like the whole, going to dinner and there's chaos. There's a missing person, and they're trying to figure out like where that missing person might be. I think the choreographer intended for it to be is sort of humorous. I mean, I thought it was pretty funny actually. With um, everybody was like going crazy over this missing person. Like the waitress is trying to take orders, but she can't because like they're waiting for this person. And um, recognizable images. I think the chairs and the tables were obviously pretty recognizable, like what they were trying to do. I mean, like it's at the dinner scene. Uh, and then the props in this, like they obviously used the chairs, they used the table, and the dancers were tapping on both. The tempo of the piece was pretty upbeat, especially at the beginning, and it started to slow down toward the end, but and then there was a lot of unison with the dancers, like their taps were all together. Especially more at the beginning, and then it started like each dancer had like their little, sort of like a little solo maybe. Um, and the piece is more like a sort of like a narrative because it kind of tells like a story of maybe a dinner scene that you might see somewhere. Um, and as far as like the general performance, I think that the dancer's technique, I mean, I think it looked really, really good. I mean, this was the first dance performance I've ever been to, and I mean, I think that it was just really good overall. Like when they tap together, like everything was in, all the tap was in unison, and uh, and then the dancers, like projection and conviction and performance. I mean, there was some acting in it involved with like there being a missing person, and the waitress like taking the orders and the chaos. I think that it was really good and conveyed the whole meaning of the piece, and the dancer's ability to change roles from one dance section to another. I think that they did really well at sort of using the whole floor. They used the props as far as the tables and the table and the chairs. I think the dance was just really well performed overall. Like as far as the dancers just using everything that they could, and as far as like the tap, everything sounded really good too. Because like I think that's one part I like about tap dances. Like you can hear you can hear everything that you're doing, and it's every dancer like they sounded the same, and when they did their solos, it sounded really well as well, and looked really cool too. And then as far as like the costumes, I mean, like the men had suits, the women had dresses, and then obviously the waitress, you can kind of tell like who that was, that she's going to take the orders. And then the music, it sounded like at the beginning it was like maybe more like um, a phone call, I guess, and then it's sort of like it sounded like it's maybe softened up toward the end, and that's about it. So yeah, I thought the piece was really well performed. It was really well. Um, I really liked it. I mean, that was the first time I've ever been to a dance performance before, and I'll probably show up and I'll probably go again in the spring because I thought it was really good. I liked it. It's definitely fun to go to.